that, then do that. But if you want to fall in love with something, you have to pick something that moves you like that. One day I'm sitting in the newsroom, and I was doing a story on there weren't enough Girl Scout leaders, something like that, and he busts in the newsroom standing, "Who has a blazer?" I go, "What?" "A jacket. Who brought a blazer?" I go, "Oh, I have a blazer. It's on the peg." I thought somebody needed it, to shoot a stand-up or something. "Oh, good, you're anchoring the news and sick." I'm like, okay, so the litmus test for who anchors the show is who showed up to work with a blazer. I'm going to bring a blazer every single day. That's all I can think of. So I had never done it before. So he goes, "Okay, you ready? Go out there and get him." So it's 5 to 6. I'm sitting in the chair, and I am freaking because I had never done it. And I'm thinking, this is my big break. You only get one of these. Please, God, let me do it. So camera's in front of me. Light goes on, and it says very clearly, "Good evening, I'm Hoda. Ann Martin is out sick." Okay, that's what it says, because that's what it is. So I am deep breathing, and okay, I look up and I go, "Good morning, I'm Ann Martin." Oh my God! Everyone like this. Oh, please give me a breath. It was too late because it was out. Now, I don't know about you, but when I mess up, I keep messing up, okay? It was like I was on a mountain going down on a toboggan, screaming all the way down. It was the worst show ever. I'm like, this is terrible. When it was over, and it was long and painful, I look around, because I'm probably fired from Greenville, and I look around and nobody's there. Like, the floor director, takes the mic off me, like it has cooties on it, okay, nice try, okay, see you later. Okay, so I look around, the news director's gone, everybody's gone. So I'm thinking, this is what happens before it's over. Everybody's gone. So I don't know what you do when you're in a funk, but I go to the grocery store and eat things. That's my thing. You do that? Good. Anyway, so I went to the ice cream section, and as I'm there, I'm thinking, how did I do this? What happened? And I'm there, and this woman comes running over to me, and she looked crazy. I mean, she had just a few teeth. Anyway, she goes, "Oh my God, I just seen you on TV. I felt so sorry for you." So I went into work the next day thinking, it's over. So I kind of tiptoed in, sheepish when you've messed everything up. I'm like, "Hey, Stan." He goes, "Well, seeing what you did, that was not good, but Ann's sick again, so just give it one more go." The man gave me a second chance. So they asked us at Studio 1A in New York to bring somebody who changed your life into Studio 1A. So I picked, of course, Stan Sandroni. This guy walks in, he meets Matt and Meredith and Ann and everybody, and he's like, "Hoda, I knew from the minute I seen you, you were going to be something." I was like, "You were the only guy." So I'm just telling you guys, you just need one. You don't need 10 people to think you're great. You don't need 100 people. You just need one person who believes in you. And if you have that stuff deep inside you, that's going to help you. But when you go to small market TV, you have to break stories. And it's weird because you don't know anybody. You know what I mean? You get to Greenville, they're like, "We need you to really generate stories." Well, how do you do that? So someone taught me a great technique. They said, and it really worked out well for me. They said, for instance, the child abuse unit. I said to my boss, "I'd like to do an overnight with the child abuse unit. I want to see while you're sleeping there are people working. So let's figure out what they do." And my boss said, "Well, why would we do that?" I said, "But it's interesting. A lot of people don't know what happens." So I'm sitting with the child abuse unit. It's 2 in the morning, and people, you know how you are at 2 in the morning. You tell your secrets, right? So we're sitting on the floor, we're talking, I'm learning about them, blah, blah, blah. I do a story. It's a second block story about, here's some people who do some great things overnight. This is a man with several kids who takes care of other people's kids. A week later, I'm at my desk and the phone rings. "Hoda, go to Maple and 4th and bring a camera crew." So I said, "Okay, who is this?" "Just go to Maple and 4th with a camera crew." I said, "Okay." So I told my boss, "I need a camera crew to Maple and 4th. He said, "Why?" I said, "I think there's something going to be happening there. I don't know what, but I just need a crew." So we go there, we're standing outside, waiting. Sure enough, a lady comes out in handcuffs out of a house. We shoot it, we don't know who she is, we don't know what it is. And we come back to the station, and I call the police department. I said, "Hey, there's a lady walking out in cuffs. Who is she?" "We don't know anything about her." I go, "Really? Because we're going to put her on TV. So what's her name?" And she was on the corner of Maple and 4th. So they did the research and found out. So you break one story. It's a small story. Then you break another one, and another one, and another one. It's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. So for me, I hopscotched around the country, small market after small market, and by the grace of God, wound up at the network. And I always wondered, how do people get here? Do you know what I mean? I thought it was going to be like swimming with sharks. Everyone's mean, and how do they get here? They have to have sharp elbows. It's not really like that, which I found so surprising and refreshing. A lot of, if you meet Matt, Al, Meredith, and all of them, they're tough people, but there's a gentleness. There's a strength, but there's an assertiveness. But there's not anything that's mean or aggressive. Do you know what I mean? Roker, I was with Al Roker doing an event, and we didn't get done till 2 in the morning. He had to be at work at 4 a.m. to do his Wake Up with Al show. He's in the best mood every single day. He's like, "Morning, everybody." It's like 4:30. I go, "Al, can I ask you something?" I said, "You are in a good mood every day. You are on fumes right now. I know you are." He said, "You know why I'm in a good mood?" He said, "Because my dad drove a city bus, and I get to come to 30 Rock every single day." It's about valuing what you do. And what I found among the people at NBC is that's what they do. The other common thread, you guys, is they're all very good writers. And I always wondered if writers are born or if you can become a good one. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'll read a book, 4 words strung together, and my eyes well up. I'm like, and I always underline. My books are full of underlined everything. I'm like, how did those 4 words together make me feel like this? And I think if you can find that magic, about the writing, that's one of the most difficult things to do. There's a book by Zadie Smith, and her line is something like, she's describing a guy who's committing suicide. It's a sad story. It's in the first line of her book. His head is on the steering wheel, and her line is, he had his war medals in one hand and his marriage certificate in the other because he wanted to take his mistakes with him. You learn so much about the guy in 2 lines. Do you know what I mean? Some people feel like you have to write and write and write and write. Dennis Murphy is one of the most genius writers. He works at NBC. And after Columbine, there was a memorial. And his first line of his story was something like, it started with a church bell. And it was like, bong, bong, bong. And his line was, if a breaking heart could make a sound, it would probably sound like this. And it was another bong of the church bell, a tilt down to the girl who had a tear coming down. You learned everything in 10 seconds. It was beautiful. So I'm a student of it. I know people at work who buy Sports Illustrated because the best verbs are in Sports Illustrated, some of the best writing. They circle the verbs. They write them on a piece of paper in their desk, and when they're writing a story, they go to that list, and they look for verbs that move the sentence. You know what I mean? They look for that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's simple. Do you guys remember there was a DC sniper who was shooting everybody on the street randomly? It was a while ago. And the day they nabbed that guy, we did a big Dateline on it. And usually what we do is we start the Dateline hour with the nab, and then we do the litany of all the shootings that happen throughout the course of the weeks, and then we button it up with the nab. So it's an hour like that. So it starts with the nab, and then there's a point in the story where he says, the killer left a note on the side of the road. It said, "Your children aren't safe, not anytime, not anywhere." It was just one of the weird clues the killer left. So Murphy was trying to figure out how to wrap up his story at the very end. So after the nab, his line is this, something like, "Oh, by the way, remember the note the killer left that said your kids aren't safe, not anytime, not anywhere?" Murphy's last words were, "Not anymore." Just like that. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be flowery and it just has to be succinct and clear, and it has to make you feel something. And I think great writing does make you feel something.